We have Labour Party shifts presidential governorship primaries to May 30. And May 30 is literally just around the corner. That's next week, Saturday. Okay, in the cable newspaper, we have the presidency. Tinubu said Tinubu is not planning to rename Nigeria or abolish Sharia law. One thing that I've discovered about Nigeria and Nigerians about Nigeria is once you see a piece of news in the news, right, any form of information, especially from the government, wait a bit, something's about to happen, because apparently there was a viral video that went, there was a report that went and said Tinubu is planning to rename Nigeria United States of Nigeria and is also planning to abolish this Sharia law. Now the presidency is saying that's not let's just give it time and see what actually happens in the long run. After the cables reports, federal government demolishes shanties along Lagos Calabar coastal highway. Now the issue is, if you're demolishing these shanties, are you making alternate accommodation for them? Because when those shanties were getting there, you were seeing it, you did not say anything, you did not tell them to move. And that's with the case of every other area that has been demolished. Say, oh, leave this place, Oronshoki, the Makoko area as well. These places have been there since 19 Gogoro, and at no point were they chased out. But all of a sudden, you're chasing them out without any alternate source of accommodation for them. What are we doing? Moving on to the Daily Post, we have NCC reviews telecom policy, 6 framework for digital economic growth, stronger interagency coordination. Still on the Daily Post, we have AKT 2026, INEC warns NURTW against sabotaging Gober election. In the Tribune newspaper, we have Kingsley Chinda emerges Rivers APC governorship candidate. Yesterday, we talked about this, how, no. 2 days ago, we saw how 2 nights ago, Wednesday night specific, Fubara had declared himself. He said he's withdrawing from the race. Tonya Cole as well said he's withdrawing from the race. And then Wike's man, they said, allegedly Wike's man has emerged Rivers APC governorship candidates. Tinubu appoints 39-year-old professor as new JAM registrar. I actually did read this article and I was like, this is interesting. And I don't know why we're celebrating that it's a 39-year-old person, because ideally we should have young people in power, but we can say we are celebrating because the people that are in power are all of a certain age range. Pen pushing newspaper, trial on controversial land matter between senior advocate of Nigeria, shattered engineer, begins at Ogun State High Court. Also on the pen pushing newspaper, we have this one that says I might not say this right. Oshile Okeono rounds up 37th coronation anniversary with installation of new chiefs. Those are the headlines this morning on the dailies. You want to do well to get you a copy, better still stick around as we about to get into the meat of the matter. Adetomo unfortunately would not be here today because she's a bit under the weather. And yeah, please, if you're out there, please make sure you take care of yourself, because the weather is weathering, as we say. So please take care of yourself as you go about your day. It's currently raining, so please keep warm, keep safe. But yeah, before we go ahead, I was able to drag my guy Emmanuel to come stand in with me today. Hi Emmanuel, good morning.
Hi Femi, good morning, and TGIF, thank God it's Friday, and I'm glad we are doing okay this morning.
Are you a Gen Z? Say TGIF.
Well, it doesn't matter. You just have to stay updated with the trend so that you don't miss out. And when they are speaking, you don't sound like you are from Jupiter.
Anyway, Emmanuel, a lot of things have happened between the last time I saw you on Monday and now. Like you rightly predicted on Monday, you said, watch out as there's going to be even more premium tiers. And we saw that happening, the aftermath of the senatorial primaries on Monday. Quite a few people who thought they were going to return did not return to the seat. And in the course of the week as well, like I said earlier, Fubara has withdrawn. Desmond Elliott withdrew from the primaries in the Surulere constituency. Different Tonya Cole too has withdrawn. Different things have been happening, right? Now, INEC has come out to say, well, we're setting aside INEC's deadline for party primaries, candidate replacements, blah blah blah. And this is in pretty much all the newspapers. And this is looking like it is going to give relief to politicians, because what the court said is that the Electoral Act already gives parties up to 120 days before an election to submit candidate details. So INEC cannot legally impose an earlier deadline that limits this right? So, but what did INEC do? INEC had created a timetable that forced political parties to finish primaries by a certain date, submit candidates early, and like you said on Monday, lock in party membership, so that when they've submitted, you cannot defect to another party. But right now, what it's looking like from this overturn that the court has done is that this will now give parties, of course, more time to organize themselves. But most importantly, which is the one that I'm headed toward, it would allow defections and coalition negotiations to continue. For me, I would say this is very, very interesting and a bit alarming, because what this means is that a politician who lost an APC primary over the weekend, right, or this week, now has time to move to any other party and contest there, like considering maybe the agreement or the negotiation that politician does with the party that he's going to. So right now, the INEC is reviewing the judgment, and apparently they might, and an anonymous source said they might appeal it. But Emmanuel, is this? I feel like this is taking us back. But yeah, I'm just gonna let you go ahead.
All right. See, we found ourselves in this ditch because the National Assembly, the presidency, did not do due diligence on the Electoral Act. INEC said, based on logistics, that they have a limited time frame and they are trying to rush things against the provision of its own constitution, of the Electoral Act. Now, if the National Assembly had done the needful and they had passed the Electoral Act December, it will have given INEC enough time to plan the election. Two, if the presidency had done the needful and had not rushed the signing of that Electoral Act, because a lot of political commentators said it was rushed based on the fact that it favored the APC and they had to sign it. Some provisions were there that were not really constitutional based on existing law. We will not find ourselves in this quagmire. See, the third schedule, section 15, most importantly, paragraph F of the Constitution, gives INEC the power to organize election.
Okay.
And in organizing election, they have the power to issue guidelines, to issue a whole lot on how the election would go. It is within the power of INEC, the third schedule, section 15. Now, the power given to INEC has not been given to the National Assembly to issue guidelines on how elections should go. Now, based on the selfish interest, I keep saying the selfish interest brought us into this. Based on the selfish interest, the National Assembly has the power to formulate, that's why they can amend the Electoral Act, but there are places they cannot go to, like issuing guidelines for election. But based on their own selfish reason, the National Assembly now went into the core function of INEC and started giving INEC guidelines, thereby infringing on the independence of the Electoral Commission as given to them by the Constitution. And this is where all this boxing comes into place. Because now you are boxing citizens, saying that you cannot leave party A or party B within this time frame. Freedom of association is being taken away. And we said this. Now, see, with due respect to late Muhammadu Buhari, the Electoral Act was passed on his table 3 times. He sent it back because he said there were some clauses that were not right, that needed to be removed. But the way the presidency passed this electoral amendment was so fast that Nigeria were still trying to get a hold of it. Some lawmakers were speaking that things have changed. The electoral act that was agreed, a whole lot was still going on, and this was signed. Now, what was the bone of contention of the Youth Party? They were arguing this under Section 29, Sub 1 of the Electoral Act of 2026, which required political parties to submit particulars of candidate not later than 120 days. So, provision of Section 29, Section 82, and 84, Sub 1 of the Electoral Act, which give INEC the power to receive notice of party primaries and personal particulars of candidates, has been the bone of contention. Because INEC set the deadline for party register to be May 10th, and that they want the list of all candidates by May 30th. Now, between this May 10th and May 30th, when this is being submitted, that's within 20 days, no politician or no candidate can switch political party having participated in a political premise. Now, some are trying to withdraw from political premise because they are trying to look for loophole that state that they were not participant of a political premise, therefore they can switch to another party within the time frame. Then they looked at Section 31 again, which permitted political parties to withdraw and substitute candidates not later than 90 days. Now, if you count 120 days to the election, so that means political parties are having till September 2026 to either submit names, conduct their primaries, and submit names of candidates to INEC for election. So what we are having now is as a result of bad, or should I don't want to use the word bad, as a result of people leaving their core function and eating into another person's core function. The power to regulate, to organize election, lies solely on INEC. They have the power to issue the guideline. It is within their constitutional right. They have it. The law has given them, the constitution has given them the power. Now, it is not the power of the National Assembly to issue regulations on how election. They are to just make law, not to issue regulations on how elections should be held. And then we got into this space because, see, the biased nature of those making laws that they want to remain in power would actually affect them issue out regulations. That is why an independent body is needed to ensure that the regulations is free and fair. And it's also sad because I'll take you back to 2007 in the Amechik's case at Fathers PDP, where the Supreme Court had strong words for INEC, that they have no power, that it is not within their right. Theirs is to be for everybody and nobody and ensure free and fair election. So there is no power to impose candidates by INEC on political parties. And that was what brought Amechi into power as the governor of Rivers State, and Celestian Omeya, after 6 months, was kicked out. Now, the issue with this judgment is INEC only was tagged as the defendant. And I'm asking, on whose behalf will INEC be appealing this? Mm-hmm. No other person was tagged. It was basically between the YPP and INEC based on the provisions that was given in the law. And the Constitution is supreme. Every other thing we do falls within the Constitution. So based on this, I'm looking at on whose behalf would INEC, because INEC is an administrative body for election that is independent. So are we going to be seeing, because we are opening a lot of Pandora box here with this judgment. aggrieved politicians, those who have been crying since last week, those who started crying yesterday. So is this going to give them an avenue to move? Mind you, I said they are trying to ensure that they have all the numbers by putting that clause there so that politicians would not move after losing election and would not divide their base. But with this ruling, it shows that politicians, if INEC does not appeal within the stipulated time, politicians can move. And if INEC appeals within the stipulated time, that's to go to the appeal court, appellate court, go to the Supreme Court. Do we have the time? By the time we keep going back and forth, we are going to just put ourselves in a whole lot of trouble. We could have saved ourselves this stress by the presidency allowing a proper review and the signing is not rushed, and the National Assembly not going into areas where they don't have the right to go into by trying to issue guidelines on how INEC should organize elections. So you are just seeing drama. More drama will come based on the 2027 election. But some of us understand INEC's fear logistics. But it is now on the National Assembly and the executive to ensure that the proper budget approved for INEC is released to them in time to ensure that they run after everything they need to do for this election to become a huge success. If I have 90 days, that's 3 months to election, where I can substitute names, and you are telling me everything closes mate, that you see the power is within INEC. They are independent as long as they can defend this. But it should not follow. See, if INEC are the ones that issue this guideline, and it's not coming from a part of legislative arm of government who are putting this provision, boxing people in, and they box people in, but most of them were actually boxed in with this provision because they never expected it. It will have been a different ball game. But people feel like it favors the ruling party when the law was signed and kept quiet. That's why I love say, see, when bad things are happening and you keep quiet and you say it is not you today, you don't know whether the trap you've set is going to affect you tomorrow. Now look at all of them. Some of them running hectare-scatter. I know a senator that belongs to the upper echelon cabal in the Senate that goes with the Senate president up and down. He's struggling to the state governor that is leaving after 8 years has taken the senatorial ticket. He wanted the governorship ticket. The state governor announced another candidate as his successor. Now they postponed the governorship primaries in that state because another person is coming with Abuja power. About 10 candidates, APC had made money in that state, and they are poor. About 10 candidates have bought APC governorship form.
Yes.
So you look at all these things. Now imagine that there is another candidate, and out of those 10, 8 of them pulls out with their followers to another political party.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be total respect for the rule of law. There has to be total respect for the Constitution. And the third schedule, section 15, gives power to INEC to ensure that they issue guidelines, they monitor, they work on election, and it doesn't give that provision to the National Assembly. So the National Assembly cannot issue guidelines. They can make laws. Like not too young to vote, set laws, do this. See, even the power to create constituencies lies on INEC. So you look at all this and then you are wondering, how did we get ourselves here? How many months to the election? We are looking at how we are going to work on this, and the court is telling us, no, you have to follow the law. And my lord is not wrong, because there's an express provision of the Constitution. And based on that, my lord has to rule on that the Constitution must be followed. that, see, based on, if you look at the section 98 of the Electoral Act of 2026, it does not give INEC statutory authority to fix a timetable for the 2027 general election for campaign to end 2 days. We always say campaign must end 48 hours before election. It is INEC issuing their guideline. So when you go into the guideline of INEC, you are infringing on the independence of INEC, which is so sad. And if you are saying INEC must be independent, then you have to allow them organize and issue guidelines that will favor nobody but all, so that the election can be free and fair. See, by the time the guidelines start favoring a particular group of people, that is when you start having elections that are not free and fair. But I don't wish to be INEC this period, because it's going to be a whole lot. You think you've had it under lock and key, that by May 30, you have the candidate, you can proceed with logistics, you can produce with printing of ballot paper, you can produce with all these things, and then this is coming into be.
So the question I even have is, I'm not sure that you've even answered, like when I was starting, is what happens with those who have lost the elections? What does this mean? Because if you've lost election somewhere and then the primaries, beg your pardon, somewhere, and then you go somewhere else, you defect somewhere else, and then you go, what does this really mean? Doesn't it cause confusion? I know that at the bottom of this is the blowback is still on INEC, but what does this mean really, for, that's my question.
See, for those who have lost election and who are going into another political party, it is a two-way thing. If INEC appeals, or if INEC decides that, we are going to leave it at the 120 and 90 days, everybody move forward. So by September, we are going to have your party register, your candidate's name, and all. Fine. They are lucky, as we call it. Peradventure, INEC appeals and the appellate court says, no, INEC, your first rule stands, that May 10 and May 30th. Political parties are giving their tickets to these political, I don't want to call them political allots, because only a political allot that move from one political party to another and does not have an ideology.
When I saw this, I was like, but you're giving them an out to defect to other parties. So but I remember that when Peter Obi was moving, they said he was moving up and down. So it's a bit like, what are you people doing? So
basically, see, it gives them, so peradventure you move as a political allot and the party gives you the ticket, and then the appellate court, if INEC appeals, rules that no, INEC has the express provision and they are independent, therefore they can set their timetable, and the timetable that was set for May 10 and May 30th still stands, then that your ticket becomes void, and then your political party loses an opportunity to contest based on that, except you can approach a court of competent jurisdiction and then they can tell INEC to do otherwise. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth, and my lords will be busy this period, because even without all this Pandora box, my lords have been busy with different litigation, from the register, from this, from that. So it's going to be a very busy period for the courts, because now it depends on how it goes. If INEC leaves it free, fine. If INEC decides to appeal, it is going to be a whole lot, because people moving from one political party to another would now use that season that the transfer window has been closed and then start moving again, because they see a loophole. But I just want to look at all these other political parties, that is the NDC, the ADC. Do we have PDP? The PDP, APM, or whatever they call themselves, to look very well at candidates who are coming and ensure that candidates who have a valid resignation data from their previous political party and have not participated in political primaries should be allowed to take the ticket, as not to cry where there are places that they could have won. Don't forget, in Zamfara, a party won top to bottom, they were kicked out, and that party was put in based on this provision. So it is going to be a whole lot, and I think at this point Politicians will always find loophole in every law because of crooked ways of doing things. So this is just the beginning. You might wake up tomorrow and see another litigation. But you might wake up and see 10, 20. It is going to be a lot. But there are a lot of aggrieved politicians who are even in the ruling political party. And you would see more. Those who had even resigned as minister that did not give us light. And now they've been shown the way out, and even in their own state. And they are not winning in their own state. So it is going to, I'm not mentioning names, please. So it's going to be a whole lot for some politicians to take. Because in Nigeria, without power, most politicians are nothing. They are just like a bus conductor who doesn't have a boss to work with in a day. And there are no passengers they can shout at, they can flex their muscle and shout, come down for my boss, this, that. So without power, they're just like a bus conductor without a boss.
Speaking of politicians, this week, there was something that Buki said on Wednesday. She said we need to move from this Baba Sokwe kind of politics. And I'm speaking with regards, Fubara stepping down, Desmond Elliott stepping down. Now, speaking of Desmond Elliott stepping down, to be honest, I actually don't care, because for me, the logic I have, and someone might argue and say that's a very juvenile logic. That's fine. I'm okay with it. That you've done your first term, your second term, your third term in the House of Reps, and you want to go for the fourth term. Now, the structure, what they call it, the party or the powers that be that helped you to go again for a third term, and then this lady who had stepped down for you, and then you're still insisting that you want to go for a fourth term. It feels like there are two things to argue about, but people are arguing more about the fact that somebody stepped down for you. Why can't you step down for the person? But my thing is it because somebody said, because there was something that he said that he was in South Africa when Obasa was impeached. He came back to Nigeria and he thought the instruction came from above, came from the president. So, and nobody's really picking on that. So are we saying that if the president says, let us impeach somebody, then it means that all of us move?
See, for Desmond Elliott, how old is he? How old is he?
Maybe in his 50s, I'm not sure.
He's 50-something. He has been there for 12 years. You came back from South Africa, they give you a list that you should sign, you should impeach Mudashiru Obasa. And in your own right thinking, you claim you have a political godfather who is the chief of staff to the president, and you cannot call him and ask that I came back and this is what we are finding out. Are we in tune? Because see, in politics, you have to be in tune with the central government. You have to be in tune with a lot of stakeholders. Are we in tune with what is happening in Abuja? When they ask you to go and do a disclaimer that you are not part of them. When Mojisola was stepped down and went back to Abuja as deputy speaker, why were you crying as if you were acting Days of Doom? See, how old is Desmond? How old is Bajabi Amila? He went to national TV, was saying daddy. See, politics will humble you. Desmond, with the white beard, I've been trying to talk about this. Went on national TV and was saying daddy to air his clinical too. Is it your father's house? Asking. Political, position is not a traditional position. Is it a traditional ruler? 12 years, as they say in Yoruba, are you the most competent person in Surulere one federal constituency? 12 years. Egmont Desmond. How many politicians has that right of even spending 12 years in the legislative arm of government? Said 12 years. He didn't withdraw. He was beating blue-black in the primaries. He didn't withdraw because see, that might be the end of him politically because he has ruffled feathers with the powers that be politically. Desmond Elliott is a lightweight when it comes to politics. He rides on the strong winds of those who are heavyweight politicians, and he has always been in their good books. But now that he's not in their good books, Baba is going up and down crying. This is politics. This is the bad side of politics. And if he himself for 12 years cannot build a base for himself, this is what happens. You have to be a grassroots. He should ask himself, why did Obasa come back? After he came back from his US trip, Obasa was laughing. I covered it that period. Obasa was just laughing, looking at all of them. That you people want to remove me. I am the speaker, you cannot. Because Obasa has the grassroots following. He was not around. These people went to protest from Agege Lagos Assembly. They were arrested. They were released. He's a grassroots politician to the core. So he owns a base. It's called Agege. So the presidency or the powers that be understands his stand. He brings value to the table politically. If I don't care, people will explain how he brings the value. But you know, Agege is Obasa. He has built the base as a grassroots following. Who knows who layer one is? Festus. I said Festus, Desmond. And the truth is, Desmond is just 54. He's a very good actor. He was a very good actor. He should just go for, because I've not seen him on screen for a while in recent movies. So he should just go for some. He played the sugar boy, the lover boy well. Maybe it's time to play the sugar daddy. And he will get good roles. Reach out to producers. He has the money, can produce his own movie. This is why we keep saying that politicians should have a job, so that when the political office expires, you go back to your previous job and live your previous life outside politics. So Desmond, you were one of our favorite on-screen Nollywood actor. We would still love to see you take job. And then who knows, better pay based on the fact that you were formerly a member of the State House of Assembly. You might get better roles to come and act as political sugar daddy in movies. So he should go and focus on his career. It is over for him politically. He knows that unless he can realign himself with the powers that be heavyweight. But Desmond calling Femi daddy. No. Politics will humble you.
All right, thank you. I said I was going to ask you that question. Okay, but even the Baba, okay, you've already answered it, to be honest, because you need heavyweights. The godfatherism. The godfatherism, I don't think it will die a sudden death anytime soon. So anyway, okay. You're still tuned to Women Radio 91.7 FM. This is the Daily News Review. You've been listening to Emmanuel Olonade this morning, standing in for Adeto on the Daily News Review program. We are live on YouTube. Do not forget, at WFM 917, and you can listen to us at the go via our website, www.wfm917.com. Let's take some messages this morning. The phone lines are now open: 07000917917 or 0800-1235-917. Let's take some messages this morning. Happy weekend to everyone in the studio. Court nullified INEC Electoral Act. This is a welcome development because the new Electoral Act passed by the National Assembly is a coup against Nigerians. Tinubu and Akpabio is doing everything possible to come back to power, either by hook or crook, but it will not be possible for them. Please let the elders in Yoruba land call their sons to order now before it is too late, before it's too late for everyone in Nigeria, both the small, big, and mighty. There will be no route to escape, no matter how much private jets you have in your backyard. Let people that are keeping quiet now be warned. Oh God, arise and trouble those that trouble the Nigerians. Mayor from Ikotomi says. This is round peg in round hole. Being a professor at 39 is not moi. I'm proud of Professor Segun Aino's appointment as JAM registrar. I have to go through his profile and study his impacts. I'm not doubting his capacity. I pray God helps him elevate JAM further and consolidate on the legacies of Professor Oloyede Olusoga Ajayi from Odunla Ikorodu says. Finally, we have this one that says, good morning to you in the studio. I voted for President Tinubu in the last election just because he's a champion of restructuring. I'm using this medium to tell Mr. President that the only way out of these multiple problems that confront our dear nation can only be solved by restructuring this country. The last time Nigeria worked was before the 1966 coup. Please, Mr. President, let's go back to the era before the coup, where each region takes care of their own security, electricity, economy, and other development. The only thing that will be centralized is our military. Let each region manage their resources and develop at their own pace. Please restructure this country now before it's too late. Speaking of restructuring, when it comes to like this tragic case in Oyo, and funny thing is, Oyo's case has overshadowed all the other cases of abduction and killings that we've seen in this country. Do you think what's the way forward for this? Because additional is always talking about restructuring and the state police. And as at Monday, they said, okay, we'll do state police, but since that day, we've not seen anything. What say you, Emmanuel? I think we have a call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel. Before I move on, looking at a politician. Are you a politician? The way you analyze things, because I'm enjoying the way you're analyzing things. I think you're a politician. I quite agree. I agree with you 100%. But let me first say, my heart goes to this way that I kidnapped. Because I don't know where they are now. Imagine, say, my child, one of my child, God forbid, among these people. I don't think that I will talk politics. I don't think that I will even be able to eat. I'll be traumatized. So whoever is within the government, without ransom, without whatsoever, because if it's one of the side of those coalitions, let's say President Tinubu or Atiku or Obi or this, Nigeria will not be like this. So whatever they will do to bring back this, it will bring them back. So because insecurity is not going to stop. We see people, mostly especially in the north, you see somebody of 20 years having 2 wives, having 20 children, having 10 children. Tell me how would this, because children that you give back are not able to train. You know what it takes to train the children. And some of us in the south and in the east, some of us give that to 3. I will make sure that the good will come up. And this will join bandits. And I do person with the devil workshop. That's why we only try to minimize it, but it cannot really stop. And places that not all this sometimes head and over. I think it has become a business to them. Because now they no longer sell dollars out that distance. And now it's on to kidnappers. And sometimes when you see this one coming that they kidnap in some of these places, when that you want them, you journalists, you be in the state journalists, as they try to interview those people, did they do that well? Did they see them unable? So we really know what to do. I'm not really happy because I'm in my house and in the bush. Their parents cannot. Some of them not only to some parents lost their life. So please we should bring them back. And Nigeria, we should learn to do the right thing. These politicians, as rightly say, man, say we are talking about our leaders. And a lot of their steps, if they are going there to serve, they will not do everything to get there. They are not going there to serve. And then when they are professional politicians, and then when they will not do to them, nobody wants to get off. Whatever we do here, we should remember God is watching us. If you do and get away here, you can't get away from God. We should always do the right, and we also cannot, because our leaders are doing the right, we also do that. Only because one day we go back together again. Man, I thank you, God bless, I appreciate the way you, and I really support you. Thank you, God bless, God bless. Nigeria to great again. If he else can do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evan 16. Yeah, over to you, Emmanuel.
I think I'll first say with the additional that speaks about restructuring. Restructuring is not something that is done overnight. I'll give him 2 instances. For example, the army depot was in Kaduna, was in Zaria. Yeah, the army depot was in Zaria. This is Zaria, Kaduna. I think it was in Kaduna. And now we are having army depot from the north, now in the south, Oshogbo, and also in the east, Eboyi. That is restructuring. Aviation school in Zaria is being decentralized to different training schools. Police training college in Woody is also being decentralized. That is restructuring. Restructuring does not just happen the way we see it, we break it. You first break elements and give different regions a bit of power before the final nail on it. So a bit of restructuring is being done, and it takes years for it to be visible because the unitary system we had in place has been there for over 50 years. So for you to start breaking things down, it is going to take a whole while. Don't forget that there are plans to even create another training college for the Nigerian Defense Academy, apart from the one in Kaduna, and take it down. That's structuring Wasio. And for what happened in Oyo, if I had opened a church, I would have been a good prophet because I keep telling you people these things. But the leader seems not to know or know and feign ignorance. Before they got into Kwara State years back, I was shouting, they are in Niger. They are going to things that brings banditry, illegal mining. rush for resources. If people want to take over, they start banditry and then allow citizens to run away from that communities and take over. Go and look at various reports about illegal mining activities in Oyo, the Shaki, all those axes. Go and look at various investigative pieces on illegal mining. And anywhere there is illegal mining, be rest assured, in few years you will see banditry or thuggery. So number one, in southwest regions, the governors need to clamp down on illegal miners. The governors need to be proactive by empowering whether their forest guard or Amotekun to ensure they protect the forest areas. It's so sad because see, people keep saying the victims today, were those who were laughing yesterday about the victims of yesterday. Why the victims of tomorrow will be those who are laughing today about the victims of today? That is the irony of life. And that is why we keep saying, if the right thing is done, the victims, those laughing today would never become the victims of tomorrow. That is the irony. So basically, it's a sad one that this has occurred. I'm waiting for the rescue. But the truth is, they need to clear them, because if they can have a foothold in Oyo, I will tell you that they will have a foothold in southwestern Nigeria. And this is not time for politics, whether Adelabu, whether Sharafadin, Aliu, whether, what's his name, Sheyi Makinde. They are all stakeholders in Oyo. And if there is no peace in Oyo, there will be nowhere to govern. I wish our politicians can think that way. And this has to stop. When there was the bad explosion of dynamite in Bodija, we spoke about them going after those who thought that it's for illegal mine. They need to go after them. We didn't hear anything from it. It seems we sit on this part and we hear nothing from those who ought to take action on our behalf. It's actually a sad one, but there has to be a proactive nature. I know this is political season, but it's citizens who are alive that will give you votes. This is a political season. So the southwestern part of the country, because if you keep pushing them back from southwest, you'll be able to push them back from north central. I wish that peace once known in Nigeria is still available today, where you can travel at night without any fear.
Yeah.
Crazy, but I think we would survive this when we have proactive leaders.
Oh boy. I mean, there's something you always say every time you come on it. You say, oh, Nigerian politicians or the Nigerian government itself is mostly reactive as opposed to proactive. And like you already said, we see it top to bottom in every sphere, every space. Even when it comes to roads, you see a tiny hole on the road that is spoiled. Instead of them to go and cover it, they wait until it has gotten worse. I mean, it has permeated every facet of our being as Nigeria, and it's just so sad. Anyway, before we go, I want you to quickly speak to this officer who came out to say he will kill anyone who is filming him. Like, is this, and that's one of my fears of saying let's have state police. Yes, my fears might not be as weighty compared to, the enormity of why we need a state police. But if somebody's already coming out to say he will kill people if they film him, waiting can't remain.
When you recruit or you put men of low self-esteem who has no high value in themselves, they see the office you've put them as the only source of power they have to perpetrate evil or to exercise their manhood or their manliness. So when you see security officers or agency who will see terrorists firing and they will be hiding or disappear off their uniform, and they see innocent citizens and harass them, it shows that they have no self-esteem and they were men of low self-esteem. But based on the uniform and the law given to them, they see themselves as men of value. And people that are not valuable, that don't see themselves as people of value, no matter what you give them that gives value to their life, they misuse it. Sorry, I don't want to speak too much philosophy, but it is the mindset, and it shows how an average Nigerian police officer thinks, especially the rank and files of the Nigerian police. If you think I'm lying, drive as if you are navigating Ikorodu Road, go through that Ogudu and have an encounter with them. Don't dress as if you are a youth, dye your hair and go through the axis. I will give you a route that you will follow. That's why they say don't argue with a police officer, especially when it's not within town, you are traveling and he has a gun, because you don't know the mental orientation or the mental well-being of that security officer. It's a shame, and some of them deem it fit because they know that there's no repercussion. But the way Tunji Diso has started, I hope he can sustain it, whereby he has taken and saying Operation No to Impunity. I hope he can move forward on that, because we've seen him taking up officers, even men of the Bayelsa Area Command that were complaining about during the former IJ Betokun's time and Rivers Police Command. The other day, they took about 8 of those inspectors, dismissed some of them, and they will prosecute them based on the crime they've committed against citizens by disposing them of their hard-earned money. Don't let Nigerians give you stories of police brutality, not even police brutality, their encounter with police. You should see police and be like there is safety here, but Nigerians sometimes see police and see that I just have to navigate and move.
My life.
That is the era. That is where I expect their image makers to be very active. The likes of Alegiwa has been quite active up and down, but it has taken years of rot for them to find themselves here. And when Nigerians were speaking about the rot in the system, they were saying, oh, they don't like us. But it is the rot in the system. And when there is that bad apple, it spreads to other apple. And if you don't take it out on time, every apple becomes bad. That you have 90% of the apple being bad. And what we are seeing now is there are still good police officers, but the bad ones are projecting the image of the Nigerian police in the wrong way. And I hope that Tunji Disu, what he has said, will be able to complete it. You don't have a police officer speaking like a tout. If a tout speaks like that, it will be picked up. How about a man with a gun? He has told you that whoever told you to record me will be the one to bury the person. Look at the statement coming from an ASP. Do you know what it means to be an ASP? 20-something years in service. Do you know how many of those things he has done? Such a shame. The man just reflected the institution called Nigerian Police Force that they are trying to sanitize now. And it shows the kind of thinking that is within the rank and files and those officers you meet on the main road. Very sad. And thank God he has been picked up. He belongs to Oka Division, starts serving under Anambra State Police Command. He has been picked up, but I want justice to be done for him to stand as an example, saying you will shoot citizens. Who gave you the gun? Is it not taxpayer money they are using to pay you? Bunch of uncultured people in uniform, men of low value. They see no value in others. That is it.
Yeah, vexed too. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for coming on the program today. Before we go, can we have this message from Evangelist Segun Oyedeji? He says, thank God it's another weekend by his grace. Emmanuel, as far as Nigeria is concerned, there is no other fast way to elicit wealth than politics, including overnight fame. One news that saddened me is the man beheaded among the Oyo captives killed because because they saw Bible app on his phone. We as Southerners are busy cursing, bringing each other down, while Gumi is daily fanning out the North agenda. He says the ransom collected by bandits is to oil their weaponry. What effrontery? The greatest fool is the one who doesn't know he's a fool. Fumi, come for tutorial on Yoruba. Thank you. I will come. Alrighty, Mano, thank you so much for coming on the program today. We truly, thank you for coming, for bailing me out today. We truly appreciate to see you on Monday for another edition of the Daily News Review. And to the rest of us, 9 to 5 is her lunch, 10 a.m. is Radio Doctor. Don't go anywhere. This is still Women Radio 91.7. Many thanks to my producer, Josephine, for producing me this morning.